Okay, welcome back. It looks like the more we get into this, the more my bench becomes a wreck. You can see it progressively in each segment of the video. Anyway, where we are at the Monaco. We did some work on the body. We took out the seam lines here. We took down the sharp edge on the rear fenders, both front and rear. Gave it a nice sanding, give it a scuffed up, to scuff the plastic, so hopefully it'll receive paint. And hold on to that paint once it's on there for when I go do the different colors, that it won't pull off. Excuse me, it's not COVID, don't worry. We removed the mold lines off the body panels. Go in there, you can see that they're gone, which is good. And the other thing I did, which I didn't mention earlier, was I took out the back of where the grills mount. I swear it's not COVID. In this particular car, okay, maybe it is. In this particular car, the grills were missing. So I wanted to drill those out so when we're done, when we get the firewall support, not firewall, but the radiator supporting, you'll be able to see it through the grill as opposed to just being black. So that's what we did there. So this, oh, and one other thing. What I noticed, because of the different colors I need to paint, it's going to be like a honey gold type color overall with a yellow door, primer spots all over it, and then the nose of the car was black. Okay, it was flat black, primered or what have you, so the appearance is it's been in an accident and was fixed. Okay, that was the appearance I get. But what I noticed, because I have to paint black, and where I would have to paint, mask off and everything, there was no mold lines here. It was just straight on body to the front of the car, the nose clip, without a without a line. Okay, so what I did is took out some masking tape, brought out the Tamiya rescriber, and then what we did is we just started rescribing here until we had a nice mold line. I must be getting used to this because I was able to do the mold line without any problems. When I first started, I'd get walk lines all over the place. It was crazy. So, and what I'd have to do is build up with lots of layers of tape to hold it in place. Now one layer of tape, and I was able to just start scribing, and I got my nice mold line. So that's good. So it comes up over the top to where the hood would be. Same thing on the other side. So now I have a spot to mask to when I paint the front of the car. So that's cool. Alright, so that's the body. This is going to go to get some primer momentarily. We've got our chassis. We started by painting it flat black. I used black primer. Again, we're going for a worn car. I usually like charcoal gray. This time, what I did is I gave it a primer coat first, a black primer, and then using the dark charcoal acrylic, okay, with a brush, I just kind of slopped it all on, again, because I wanted to have that, worn look. I didn't want it to be perfect and polished, so did everything in the charcoal. Then we went back and detailed different things with metallizers, like the gas tank and the exhaust, the drivetrain, because it's all built into this. We did all those pieces and everything. Then we hit it with the Tamiya weather kit. We did the rust, so we scrubbed it all up with the rust to give it a lightly rusted look. Not New England type rust, but just enough to wear it out and make it look good. Okay. The engine was put in. Okay. Again, looking worn. If you'll notice here, I forgot to mention this earlier. Okay, one other thing we did, I forgot to mention earlier, to our tired 440 engine, is the engine comes with a air cleaner, as you see here, which is nice and round, but it never had the snorkel, which is kind of odd because this is a big honking engine. It would be missed, that snorkel would be missed if you saw the real thing. So what I did is I took some evergreen styrene tube that I had, cut it down, cut a hole in the side of the air cleaner, a notch basically, fit that in there, the tube in there, glued it in place with some crazy glue, cut it down to approximate size and length, let it dry. Then for the top valve here, what I did is I just took one of the very edge of it, snipped it off again to make a little mini hockey puck, and glued that right on top, so we have that that breather valve. And that's it. So now we have a nice tired looking 440 engine. Next up, we have our interior. It is a very basic kit to begin with, as you can tell with the way the chassis is here. With the, you know, we've got the you know, the holes for the metal post and stuff like that. It's not the greatest, but it is what it is. The interior is not that detailed. So what I did for the interior is I spray painted the tub itself flat black. Then the also the dashboard. The seats I painted in gray. Right? I used gray, I think it was. Then what I did is I took some acrylic paint. Where is it? Good Lord. I took some acrylic paint. I used this teddy bear tan. And then I brush painted the interior. Usually I like to, you know, for evenness and stuff like that, and for a nice looking interior, I use an airbrush and I spray it all on. But again, this is an old car. It's a beat up car. It's not a junkyard car. It's a tired car. Okay, so I wanted the interior to match. So instead of making everything uniform with an airbrush, I hand painted everything on. I made a very, I watered down the paint. It took about 6 coats to cover everything. And as you can see, it's not perfect, especially if you look at the deck lid here. You can see the black coming through in locations. If you look at the seats, the same thing. You could see some black wearing through. And that was my goal, because I wanted it to look worn. And of course, making the seats a certain primer color as opposed to the rest of the body, it gives the paint a little bit of a different color, a little variation, so it's not monochrome and all one color. Okay, I think that's one of the flaws that a lot of people do, and they just make their interior one solid color, when even if the interior is like this tan or a black interior, all that one color, there's still variations because of the vinyl takes black one way, metal, wood, all that takes different variations in tone. So I think it adds more interest. So anyway, that's what I did. Then I left the side walls and everything in flat. To make the vinyl seat look a little different, I used Future Floor Wax on it to give it a little bit of a shine. Same with the top of the dash, but I did not do it to the rest of the dash in here. That's still left flat. Again, it just adds different textures and tones to the interior. And that's that. So that's where we are with the interior. Up next, I think we're going to start putting some paint to plastic. You can see here I got the door marked off with some tape. Give this some color later, hopefully. It's warming up here, so I should be able to paint without a problem. Well, it's acrylics. I'll be doing it indoors anyway, but you know, still. And that's where we are. So stay tuned. We'll be right back. Okay, so last night we got some paint on our Hunter Monaco. To get to this point, what we did is we bought from some craft acrylics. I got some Splendid Gold metallic, and then I also mixed that up with some traditional burnt umber in order to get the proper mix that I thought was. Mixed it all up. Hold on. Excuse me. Oh. If I'm not coughing, I'm burping, I'm farting on video, what the hell's wrong with me? I'm getting old. Anyway, I mix up the color because the gold alone, which I thought at the store looked pretty close, just wasn't right. So I mixed some burnt umber with it and came up with the mix, and then sprayed it on, and I was very happy with the way it came out, the color-wise. But I'll tell you, as you can see, the color is kind of blotchy. No matter what, I'm about to throw my airbrush out the window. It's really pissing me off. I clean it like there's no tomorrow. I go to use it and it doesn't spray well. It spits, and that's what was happening here. I ended up stopping mid-spray, disassembling it, washing it, cleaning it out, ultrasonic cleaner, all that kind of stuff, put it back together. You listen to it dry, with iron paint on it, and you can hear the double action going. It sounds fine. As soon as you put paint in it, it starts spitting, and it's driving me bonkers. But for this car, because it's a worn out wreck of a car, so to speak, the blotchiness works for me. I'm okay with it. Like I said, I'm about to throw the brush out, but still, the overall results with this color came out pretty good. I'm happy with that. Because we got this color, we're going to do the gray fender and other parts, and then the black, and then and then we'll clear coat it with dull coat to bring it all down, and that should blend it all together and make it look pretty good. But I have to think about what to do for my airbrush. I don't know if I can fix it. I don't know if people have any ideas about that. I mean, I've been using the thing for almost 13 years now. I've had it and using it. Maybe it's time for a new one. I don't know. I do have a brand new Aztec, the one in the, I forget the model number, but sitting in a box with the wooden box with the individual tips. It's a beautiful airbrush. It was given to me as a gift, and the problem is I don't have the supply line for it to match up to my compressor. That's why I haven't used it, and I think I'm going to have to get off my lazy ass and do something about it. But I am really pissed off about my airbrush. Again, that said, we got what we needed for this build, and this is going to be okay. Also did the firewall, and if you notice, the firewall looks a little different. That was by design on purpose, because in pictures I saw that the firewall on these cars, not the in their fender wells, but the firewall was the same body color, same as the body color, but to add some points of interest, make it a little bit more interesting, and different shades. I left this. I didn't even use any primer. Oh, I used white primer on this. So that gave that color. When I did this, I primed it black first. Again, the idea was to make sure it had a little bit different tone. Being in the engine compartment, it will be dirtied up some more and everything again, just to add some interest to the build and depth to it. So that's why I did that. But otherwise, coming along well. I think it's going to look pretty cool, and it's done. I think I'm pleased with it so far. This is a yin-yang build, like I said. I'm pleased with the outcome of this, but I'm so pissed off right now about my airbrush, it's not funny. But anyway, that's where we are. We'll be back with some more in just a moment.